Yes. Fishing. A hobby that dates back over 40,000 years. Such a simple yet deep action that can be a hobby, a job, a way to literally feed yourself for the day, but also it can be a competitive sport that people take very seriously.
Wow, that's a lot of cheese.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. In the words of a wise man, under the sea. Under the sea, many mysterious things lie down there. Is Atlantis real? Is the city of Rapture real? Did they ever find Nemo? Krakens, giant squid, Cthulhu, megalodons, Loch Ness monsters, pirate ships with billions and billions worth of dollars in gold probably all remain down there. But while all that is a probability, what us humans do know is that fish lie down there. And some of those fish we can catch. So you bet your ass as a human society we're gonna take advantage of that and fish as many of these suckers out of their home as we can. Don't hate, you've eaten it too. Salmon, tuna, trout, halibut, tilapia, calamari, shrimp, crawfish, crabs, lobsters, all that we can thank to fishing. I myself used to work in a seafood restaurant too. Best time of my life, by the way. The food that I was getting fed there daily was amazing. Why do them oysters taste so damn good? Besides the point, my main topic was just I would always eat this fish and I would never wonder how this fish got into my plate. We need to trace it back to the root of it all. And that's where I come in. The fish alone are worth the deep dive into this rabbit hole. You'll end up learning some pretty cool fun facts about the 7 seas too. Please excuse the fishing armor I have. I wore this during the fishing trip and it did give me plus 10 fishing intelligence, so I mean, I'm gonna take every advantage I could get here as a fish virgin. Here's some quick trivia to test your fish IQ. I'm gonna give you a list of fish names and all you have to do is tell me which one of these is not real. You got your parrotfish, your stargazer, your frogfish, and you have your hamu hamu noku noku apua. Now this one's pretty easy, so I'm only going to give you 5 seconds to lock in your votes, and go ahead, start deciding. Correct. All these guys are real. Not a single one of these is a fake name. If you think this one's absurd, just wait till you see the other guys. Some of these I feel like are April Fool's jokes, but no. All of these are legitimate fish names. So after going balls deep on the 7 seas and its inhabitants, I was lucky enough to be invited to a night fishing trip with one of my friends. A buddy of mine routinely goes on these night fishing trips and is pretty successful in bringing in some scores. Just look at the size of these things.
That's a huge bitch.
Needless to say, I was very excited and accepted the offer, as I have never caught one of these aquatic folks myself. So we ventured off across the Bay Bridge into what felt like buttfuck nowhere.
It looks hella ratchet, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it was like somewhere here. And upon arrival, I was told that we needed to ride these bicycles a good 10 to 15 minutes out on this trail to get to this pier dock area where we were going to be fishing. I was more than up for the challenge.
We out?
Alright. I hadn't ridden a bike in about 8 years, so my main concern was just not eating concrete.
How far is it?
As we pedaled our way to the spot, finally reaching our destination, we were surprised with some unpleasant news. See, the group I was with gets their live bait right at the shoreline near the fishing spot we're supposed to go to. They lift these rocks, there's a bunch of worms on there, take them suckers, hook them things, and cast that shit out and hopefully get a bass in return. But unfortunately, the tide was so dang high, all the rocks that they were getting their bait from were just completely underwater now. So all hope in getting live bait was lost. And thus this is where I learned the importance of live bait. From what I hear, and this is the talk of the town, I could be wrong, I got about 7 days worth of fish knowledge in me, so excuse me if this is inaccurate, but from what I hear, if you have live bait, you're going to be way more successful in catching these aquatic critters than with artificial bait. Now that fact does vary depending on what type of waters you're fishing in, but apparently with the waters that I was fishing in, live bait is the way to go. But that didn't stop us. After asking around a couple people, someone blessed us with these 2 fish that we just ended up cutting in half, hooking them suckers and using them as bait, and just casting them out in the ocean to hopefully score some game. Now I'm happy to report that the top half of my body was completely warm, no complaint there. However, the lower half of my body was completely freezing. I had forgot that I got invited to a night fishing trip. This is very different from your average day fishing trip. Very quickly, it got dark as shit, and I had no idea how these people were able to see anything, let alone fish an entire creature out of the ocean. Thankfully, before this trip, I went over to our local Home Depot and spent about $100 on stuff that I did not need. One of these items did come in clutch, however. I couldn't buy a headlamp, none of those were there in stock, but they did have these cool neck flashlights that you just put on your neck like a necklace, and that did come in clutch later. So we casted our lines out, same with the group that we were with. There was a lot of people at this pier. We made a ton of friends, and as we waited and waited and waited, it got darker and darker and darker. It seemed like not having live bait might have been a crucial thing that we were missing. Unfortunately, the group I came with was unable to catch any fish that day, but one of the people that we were on the pier with did catch a fish, and it was pretty large. So we shared that victory and basked in its glory and huddled around the campfire and just started shouting like cavemen. And it wasn't until the end of the trip where I cracked the code on why people enjoy fishing so much. You see, during this entire trip, people were swigging shots like water and drinking White Claws, Modelo's, Coronas, you name it. It made me realize, shoot, maybe we're all having a good time because we're all hammered enjoying each other's presence, and the fish are just a cherry on top to this alcoholic milkshake that we're all indulging in. I'm kidding. I know perhaps many of you have been taken out on fishing trips by your father and you remember these fond memories as a youth, so I won't tarnish that. I will ask you, was your father hammered? All I can say is, fishing hammered versus fishing sober, I most likely would have to go with fishing hammered. Maybe the real fishing was the friends we made along the way. And we also got chicken sandwiches at like midnight, so I don't think that calls for a bad day at all. Overall, I'd say fishing gets a good 7 out of 10, at least from my experience. Maybe if I caught something on my own, bump it up to an 8 or a 9, but it wasn't too bad. It does stink though, so just be wary of that. That smell follows you home, and it is atrocious.